Hey, amazing fourth graders. We're here for lesson 6.4. That's why I threw up two peace signs. So let's take a look at your objective. Your objective is I can use equivalent fractions to represent fractions as fractions with common denominators. Ooh, that's a lot of words, so let's break it down. Equivalent fractions. You've learned so far that equivalent fractions means equal. Please do this with your body right now. I can see you. Now, we want to represent or show fractions as new fractions with common denominators. Remember, denominators are down in the bottom. So, what are common denominators? They are common multiples of two or more denominators. These fractions represent wholes cut into the same number of parts. So, let's write 1/2 and 1/3 as a pair of fractions with common denominators. So step number 1, you are going to want to list multiples of both denominators. So my denominator in 1/2, the number down at the bottom, is 2. And in 1/3, the denominator down at the bottom is a 3. So let's list the multiples. Remember, multiples get bigger. So your multiples of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. Your multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, and 12. Step number 2 is to find a common multiple. Well, if you take a look at this multiple list right here, you see that they have 6 in common. They both have that same multiple. Now, step number 3 is to multiply to make new fractions with the same denominator. So we're going to make equivalent fractions that have a denominator of 6. Okay, we're going to be using 6. Now, 1/2, you might have already learned an equivalent fraction for 1/2. So how do you get from 1/2 to some 6, some number in the numerator with 6 in the denominator? Well, I know that 2 times 3 is 6. Anything I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. Okay, so I have to multiply 1 times 3.
Here's what I found.
Siri found it. I hope you are finding it too. So you have anything you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. So you multiply 1/2 times 3 over 3, and you get 3 6. These are equivalent fractions with 6 in the denominator. Now 1/3, the same thing. You need to multiply. Think what number times your denominator will give you this new denominator. Well, I know that 3 times 2 equals 6, so I must multiply 1 times 2. So 1/3 is equal to 2 6. Guess what? That is today's lesson. We are making equivalent fractions so that way we can create fractions as fractions with common denominators. We have 3 6 and we have 2 6. This is really helpful for when we add, subtract fractions. It's also helpful when we compare and order fractions, skills you will be doing in the future. So let's continue practicing. Let's write 2/5 and 2/3 as a pair of fractions with common denominators. So here's our pair. Right now, do they have a common denominator? No. 2/5 has a denominator of 5, and 2/3 has a denominator of 3. 5 and 3, they don't have anything in common other than being an odd number. So let's go ahead and make fractions with common denominators. Now, you can't just change the value. They have to be equivalent. So step number 1 is to list the multiples of both denominators. The multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. The multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. You keep going until you find a common multiple. Do you see a common multiple here on this multiples list? Well, that's the next step. Find the common multiple. Hopefully you saw that 15 is a common multiple because 5 times 1, 2, 3 is 15, and 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is also 15. What's next? Well, next, we need to multiply to make new fractions with the same denominator. So our new fractions are going to have the denominator of 15. So 2/5 will make an equivalent fraction with the new fraction having a denominator of 15. And 2/3 will make a new fraction with a denominator of 15. So how do you get from 2/5 to some number with 15 in the denominator? Well, 5 times 3 is 15. So I need to multiply my numerator, 2 times 3, and that equals 6. So 6/15 is equivalent to 2/5. Now, 2/3. How do I get from 2/3 to some number in the numerator with 15 down in the denominator. Well, 3 times 5 is 15, so I need to multiply 2 times 5, which is 10. So 2/3 is equivalent to 10/15. Now, let's make sure we have our fractions. Let's write 2/5 and 2/3 as a pair of fractions with common denominators. 6/15 and 10/15 are our fractions with common denominators. Are you ready to try to create a pair of fractions with common denominators? I want you to go ahead and write 4/6 and 1/4 as a pair of fractions with common denominators. Please pause the video and come back to check your work. I'm watching you. Thank you so much for having integrity and pausing the video. So your new fractions are 8/12 and 3/12. 4/6 is equivalent to 8/12, and 1/4 is equivalent to 3/12. If you didn't get those fractions, that's okay. Take a moment to pause the video again so you can see and learn from your mistake. If you are learning math today, then go ahead and say, "Life is good." I'm trapped in here. I can't hear anybody. We're almost done. Let's just revisit our I can statement. Today, you were using equivalent fractions to represent fractions as fractions with common denominators. Remember to use your checklist and follow these steps. That way, you are able to be successful with this I can statement. Have an amazing Osprey day. Osprey lead the way.